Hey guys, what's going on? Sincere here with whoissincere.com, All Rights Matter TV, also secretnewworld.com, as well as mcafamilyfirst.com. So I'm getting a little tired, but this is a video I just, one, I saw this 2 years ago. Okay, not this exact story I'm about to show you. I'm going to show you what I saw. This topic, this subject matter, I saw 2 years ago. 2016, I believe it was the summer of 2016, during the presidential election. Um, I seen a Twitter profile that went up by the name of I don't know. It was a Twitter profile that is they're attempting to exploit the LGBT Q community and add another letter to that acronym. And the crazy part about this is, and these are the times that we're in, guys. We just have to be freaking honest about it. These are the times. So the crazy thing that they tried to do with the LGBTQ is add another letter that's P. So it's LBGTQ plus P. Now, what does the P stand for? Well, guys, the P stands for pedosexual. Let me show you. See if I can find it. There you go. Come on. There we go. So I can't man, I took screenshots of this, like, when I saw it back then, and meant to do a video on it. Never did the video. And I have been looking through screenshots for, I don't know, for the last hour and some change, maybe. Tired of looking through screenshots. But I was able to get, just kind of search around the internet a little bit to see if I can remember the terminology. And I found it. So pedosexual, that's the P they want to add to LGBTQ, is pedosexual. Just by the name of pedo, you know where this is going. Pedophilia. Okay? So they are trying to legitimize pedophilia as a sexual preference, as if girl likes girl, guy likes guy. So now adult likes child. Wait. Wait, how did we make that skip? How did we get to that skip? People are rightfully pissed the hell off. Rightfully so. Think about it. Think about it. Okay? They're rightfully pissed off about this. Um, you know, I'll just put it to you like this. I am not in any kind of way against the LGBTQ community in any kind of way. But if I went off of my moral values and I went off of one thing that I know to be true, um, I would say that there's something that I can't stand with them on, and that's godly morality. Now, this is not going to be a show about Christian values and about those sinners. It's not. This is not that kind of party. But what I'm about to explain to you is important. Okay. So, as the story goes of Adam and Eve, it was a guy and a girl. They created the rest of whatever that we have here on this earth today. Now, God created, of course, Adam and Eve, but he created a guy and a girl. So, as the saying goes, God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. But that may be funny, but in a kind of a way, if you think about it, if God created Adam and Steve, there would never be anybody else. Why? Because what is the one thing that homosexual people can't do naturally? Naturally. Okay? That homosexual people can't do naturally that heterosexual people can do. They can't conceive. They can't have a baby. If two women get together at the age of, let's say, 16, They're in high school together or something, young love, they get together at 16 and they have a relationship all the way up until they're 50 years old. One thing that they will never share together is the DNA of a child. Same thing goes for two men. So, with that being said, if everything in this earth is supposed to work within a natural order, okay, meaning that there's some normalcy to things. Is there going to be chaos and other things, chaos in each system? Yeah, there's going to be chaos and exceptions to the rule. That's going to happen. Um, but in a normal society where everything happens kind of in a normal, godly pattern, we'll just say, um, you, you just can't throw a whole nother mix in there and say that this is sustainable, as if if everybody turned gay tomorrow, do you know what would happen to the birth rate in this country? Do you understand what would happen as far as depopulation goes? How this all plays into the depopulation agenda? Because if you could turn everybody homosexual, there would be a lot less babies. A lot less. And then what if you had scientists that understood CRISPR technology and then they could start editing DNA and creating designer babies? Well, then you have the government taking over the birthing process. Think about this. Think about what I'm saying. Think about this future that's ahead of us, where, a study was just recently done, and I think it was something about close to 50% of guys consider themselves bi or have had a bisexual thought. Something along those lines. I believe it's considered themselves bi, though. That's a staggering number. It's staggering. Especially if you came up, if you were a kid like I was 20 years ago. It's only 20 years. It's not that many years. I'm not that old. I'm in my 30s, 37. So 20 years ago, we didn't hear about this. I'm running around in the 90s, mid 90s. Maybe there was a few kids that I identified as being homosexual, but not many. But now, fast forward to 20 years later, and we're at 50%. In 10 to 15 more years, that number is going to skyrocket. Skyrocket. This is one of the first direct plans of depopulation and controlling the population. And also they're creating a market for designer babies, for DNA babies, because there's going to be a whole slew, it's happening right now, a whole slew of homosexual couples who are going to want to have babies. They're going to want to use artificial insemination. They're going to want to have carriers. And of course, they're going to want to be able to pick the attributes of the child. That's happening right now, which means that's going to be government regulated. Think about the future we're walking into. Think about how the military and the government, their plans are already 20 to 30 years ahead of where we are right now. Think about that. Nothing they do is a mistake. So, with that being said, now you have all of that in your brain, okay? Now we know about this pedosexual behavior. I had to say all of that. Like I told you, I wasn't going to be preaching or nothing like that, but I had to give you an outline of what's up here in my brain and what I see happening out there as far as uh as far as where we're going, I guess you can say, and also as far as a reflection of what the Bible says of where we would be right now. We're actually there. Good, evil, evil is good. These are the times. So there's never been a time in history where on an international, meaning global scale, people are calling good evil and evil good. It's happening all around us. United States happens to be the main purveyor of that. But guess what? It's happening all around us. So let's move on. So we see that pedosexual, it's coming into play with the LGBTQ community. Now let's go back to the real reason of this video, because this is very important, and this is why what triggered me to actually get this video done. So let me show you. So there's a great reporter out there with a company called News to Share. I've been following Ford Fisher for a few years now, I think. Um, Great journalist. He does an excellent job. He gets the story done. He reports properly. And I think you should follow his page, honestly, because it's really funny. And he always has something funny to say about the political climate and what's going on. But he had a serious message, and I believe this message will resonate with a lot of you as far as how serious this is. Let's read it. I mostly offer political commentary criticizing those who endanger freedom and the left and from the left and the right. It's not often that I have a reason to criticize libertarians. I respect the Libertarian Party and the office of vice chairman, but Vice Chair Arvind Vora has recently made some statements online that could be mischaracterized as representing the party itself, which call for the total abolition of age of consent laws. In case you don't know what age of consent is, it's what is the appropriate age for a minor, someone who hasn't turned 18 yet, to be able to consent to having sex with someone who's over the age of 18, aka an adult. So that's what the age of consent laws govern. All right. Arvind Vora has implied that it's preferable for a 14-year-old to be pregnant by an adult than by another teen, because that wouldn't exhaust the welfare system. He compared the LGBT community's right to consent to sex to a child's right to consent to an adult. Let's read that again. He compared the LGBT, I'll just say LGBTQ's community's right to consent to sex with a child. I messed that all up. He's compared the LGBTQ community's right to consent to sex to a child's right to consent to an adult. That makes. Do you understand where he's coming from with that? This is what we've been talking about the first part of this video. These are actions that you would, and I will agree with some of the people who comment on, below this little posting. We'll get to that, but I'll agree with what some of them are saying. There's a lot of this rhetoric that has been coming out of the left because the LGBTQ community is primarily on the left. That's where they're housed at, if you will. That's their home. Obama has been their champion for the last 8 years. He said he would come into office and be the biggest champion that the LGBTQ community has ever seen, and he did that for them. So now that we have, Trump in office, things are a little bit shaky and things are, changing a little bit. But one of the changes Trump has nothing to do with that I know of. I haven't seen him pushing the LGBTQ community and being a champion for them. So I know that he's not actively trying to get them to change their community in any kind of way that would progress them or anything like that. He may not want them to be around or be as vocal, but he's definitely not going to add anything into the mix like pedosexual, even though he has his own claims against them. But that's another video. So this is primarily being pushed out of the left, being primarily pushed by the Democratic political party in this country. Now, not that the Democrats are pushing pedosexual behavior. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they're pushing the LGBTQ community. Okay? So, with that being said, that's what makes this even more interesting. Because this LGBTQ plus pedosexual is now being espoused by a person who is the vice chair of the Libertarian Party. If you don't know who the Libertarian Party is, I can explain it like this. There's the Democrats, and then you have progressives, meaning the progressives are people that are not really Democrats, but they're on the Democratic side, but they have way more social values than the Democrats do, and they're not bought and controlled by the corporate cash that runs the DNC and the Democratic Party. So you have the Democrats and the progressives. On the Republican side, you have the Republicans and the Libertarians. The Republican Party being the party that's controlled by corporate donor money and their interests, the Libertarians being the ones that are not as controlled by money and politics, and they stick up a little bit more naturally and traditionally for constitutional rights and freedoms, and also for Christian religious values. Not all religious values, Christian religious values. So completely two different, parties, but this, the Democrats and Republicans are pretty much the same, except for a Democrat is nothing but a Republican that believes in abortion, pretty much. But the Libertarian and Progressive parties are fundamentally different. They're fundamentally different. And if we had to say who's the biggest champion of the LGBTQ community, we would say that it's actually the Progressive Party. Okay, so you can't get much more different than a Progressive Party and Libertarian Party. Those are two completely different ideas. That I will say, they're two completely different ideas. They both definitely have completely different belief patterns as far as how things should work in this country. Uh-oh, it looks like we lost our post. That's okay. I can find Fort Fisher's page. Not a problem at all. Oops. I don't want to find it that way. So, the crazy thing is, all right, there we go. Fort Fisher. So now you guys know how to get to Fort Fisher's page too. And also, don't forget to go to News to Share. That's right there. But let's get back down to that post, though. I should have already been on this page. I'm sorry, guys. That was actually, I just had it pulled up. No, that's not it. There we go. All right. So anyway, back to the parties. So the Libertarian Party does not really espouse the ideas of the Progressive Party, but we see here that Arvin Vohra is actually holding a very progressive view as far as how he views the LGBT community, but then he adds the perversion of this pedosexual angle to it. So let's get back to it. All right. These statements strike me as totally irresponsible, and LP members are largely dumbfounded by a leader saying these things. I don't consider myself to be in a position to call for someone stepping down or being removed, etc., but I'll say that generally this looks bad for the party. As the only political party that's actually increasing in numbers since the 2016 race, not sure if that's correct, the Libertarian Party shouldn't have to spend its time in damage control mode when it could be advocating for life, liberty, and property. Okay? So, Ford is taking, he's saying some serious stuff here. He's taking a little stand here against, of course, what is obviously reprehensible behavior. So, I don't know if you know anybody that agrees with this viewpoint that pedosexual behavior is okay, but I don't, and I think that most most level-headed Americans don't. Most, I know that in other cultures, Muslim cultures and other cultures as well, getting married or having arranged marriages as a child or something like that to maybe somebody that's older, this is normal behavior in other countries. I don't agree with it in those countries. Okay? I believe that first you should be an adult. First and foremost, you should be legally considered by law an adult. okay, before you can decide who you want to marry. I don't care if you're 15 or 16, and even the age of consent laws at 16. I don't agree with them. I just don't agree with them. There's no way in hell that you should be able to choose to decide to sleep with a grown ass man as a young lady at the age of 16, to sleep with a grown ass man, okay? Um, Father a child, um, possibly get a disease or whatever could happen sexually at 16 that could affect your life for the rest of your life. You can't smoke a cigarette until you're 21 or 18. I think it's 18 in most states. You can't drink until you're 21, okay? But you can engage in sexual activity in some states at the age of 16 due to the age of consent laws. Think about this. This is nuts anyway. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. So, the position that Arvin Vora was taking was for a 14-year-old. Now, I understand he's trying to say, hey, it'll be, if that adult is an adult that has a job and blah, 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 then this will be less money off of the welfare system. I just don't see this being a good argument for getting money, to lightening the load of the welfare system. I think there's a lot more bigger fries that we can go after than some 14-year-olds having sex and having a baby. We're not having an epidemic in this country, um, of teenagers just, excuse me, in mass numbers just having babies, all popping them out left and right at 14. Is it happening some places? Yes, it's happening. But at the end of the day, this is not the solution to make sure that these young 14-year-olds are, ready, ripe and ready for these young adults or old adults, whichever adults, but any adults. It's not the answer. So Arvin Vora of the Libertarian Party is reprehensible. He is disgusting, and the fact that he would even publicize a view like this lets you know how out of touch with reality Arvin Vora really is. And there are people that are appalled by it. Anybody who would advocate that it's okay for an adult to have sex with a child needs an attitude adjustment. There is no circumstance where that is even remotely okay. Okay? So, let's see. Somebody said he's absolutely right on all counts. Isn't that interesting? Okay. That's not, I don't know. I don't know about you. Not cool to me. Let's keep going because there is a person in here. Somebody said it'd be best to bring on a new VC and move on from this situation. Let's see. That person is saying, he does this stuff on purpose to get a reaction. Somebody blaming the left, which, like I said, some of this is coming directly out of the left. But not all of it. The whole, anyway. This pedophilia group should not even be considered a leftist group. They are not a leftist group. Let me be very clear about that. I don't want to pin a pedophilia group to the leftist movement, to the Democrats or the progressives. I'm just saying the immorality of God, the immorality of sex. I guess that's a word. Maybe I made that shit up. I don't know. But if you're having sex that does not fall within godly boundaries, not saying that you should be doing missionary style and sitting there praying while you're having sex. I'm not saying that shit. You know I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is the kind of sex that can create a baby. If you're having sex outside of the kind of sex, the way sex was meant to actually operate and work, you've opened up those doors of immorality. Okay, you've opened those doors up. So now that those doors are open, you don't think that other unmoral things are going to try to come in and attach themselves to that logic? You got to be crazy. And that's where the pedophilia people come in. You know, it doesn't matter whether the LGBTQ community was on the left or the right, the pedophilia people would have still came in and tried to infiltrate so they can piggyback off of another group for acceptance. And that's what they're essentially doing. Um, this person agreed. Sad thing is, he's not wrong. There are certain portions of AOC laws, age of consent laws, that need to be looked at. Unfortunately, instead of saying, we need to re examine portions of that law that penalize a 17-year-old and 19, 20-year-old from having a consensual relationship, he left it open ended. He defeated the entire purpose. That's because that's not what he was saying. Exactly. So, let me prove to you that's not what he was saying exactly. If I ask any human that's watching this video right now a basic question, would you have sex with a 14-year-old? Matter of fact, I'm going to ask you as you're watching this video, would you have sex with a 14-year-old? Whether you verbally just said no, in your head said no, or in your heart said no, if you're a normal person and you understand how to grow through life, and you understand that when you're not a child anymore, you don't do childish things. And when you're an adult, you do adult things. If you understand that, then when I asked that question, there was a loud and resounding no, because you wouldn't have sex with a minor. So, let me show you why Arvin Vohra is a reprehensible pig and why he meant exactly what he meant about 14-year-old. So a guy asked him, Eric Joel, dude, you won the Libertarian ANCAP Purity Award already. Now, yes or no, would you, Arvin Vohra, have sex with a 14-year-old that consented? Arvin Vohra, probably not. But that's not the point. My personal life choices are mine, and I don't believe in forcing them on others. What? Why would you say that? That's almost just as bad as doubling down. Probably, matter of fact, let me, and there you go. I don't even have to go far to find it. Ford said the same thing. Because it's reprehensible. Probably not. Right there. Right there is no spin to that. Probably mean there's a possibility you would. Dude's like 37 and works with children via his Vohra method. The market needs to respond. Think about that. And he works with children. I didn't even know that. That's crazy. Oh, wait. I think I did read it earlier. Yeah. Maybe I missed that part. I don't know. But yeah, 37, he works with children. And this is the kind of ideas that, so while he's working with those children, what's going through Arvin Vohra's head? That's what I wonder. And I have every right to say that and wonder that. When you espouse these kind of ideas and beliefs, through online public social media platforms, you deserve to be criticized. So if I get any kind of threats from any kind of lawyers or anything like that, feel free to bring it on. Your boy shouldn't have been public about how he feels about 14-year-olds and the age of consent laws for them. Since he's public about it, I'm going to be public about how I feel about him. So that was everything that I needed to see right there. And that let me know, wait a second. This guy didn't just get mixed up And what he was saying, he knew exactly what he was saying. Disgusting. So, you don't really need any more information to understand who Arvin Vora is. Um, he is who he is, and he's obviously someone that believes the age of consent laws should be for 14-year-olds. That falls right along the lines of uh, the infiltrators of the progressive movement, the pedosexuals. Um, I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you right now, we will see a lot more of this coming up in the future. Oh, it's ramping up. Like I said, I've seen it a year and a half ago. It was about almost 2 years ago, but about a year and a half ago, the summer of 2000, at the beginning of the summer, I believe, of 2016. So, a little bit over a year and a half ago. Um, and now it's getting out there. People are starting to see it pop up more and more and more. And I knew when I saw that the LGBTQ+P profile show up on Twitter, I was like, it blew me away. It blew me away. I had never, people have made comments. Oh, if you're if you're lesbian or gay or whatever you want to call it, queer, however you want to say it. But if you have if you're bisexual or homosexual, that you have a higher propensity um, to be a pedophile. I've heard those correlations made. How true it is, I don't know. You know, I'm I'm sure there are a lot of straight pedophiles out there. I'm sure there are, just to be honest with you. Hell, I'll even tell you, I was molested when I was a child. Was about 5 years old by an older girl. I think she was like 16 or 17 or something like that. But it was when my mom used to work in this casinos in Atlantic City, and she would work overnight. My mom and my dad both worked in the casinos of Atlantic City, and when they'd be working at nighttime, I'd stay at this babysitter's house, and there was a girl there that molested me that was older than me. So, and I know that, well, from what I understood, she was straight. So, again, this thing of molestation does not just deal with the gay community. So, I don't want anybody thinking that I'm coming at, the LGBTQ community. I'm not. I'm not coming at you guys. You guys are good. I love you. I love you. Okay. All of you. Gay girls, gay guys, doesn't matter. I love you with a godly kind of love. I really do. I'm not judging you. I'm not saying you're going to hell, because what makes your sin worse than somebody else's sin? Am I calling what you're doing sin? In God's eyes, it is. Just keeping that real. I'm not going to butter that for anybody. In God's eyes, it is. But I've cursed about, I don't know, at least a handful of times in this video. So I just sin too. Maybe I'm not going to heaven either. You know? So who are we to really judge people? Who are we really to judge people? So I'm just going off of what I read in the Bible. So at the end of the day, we all sin. But not going to talk your ear off anymore about this. I just wanted to show you who this reprehensible man is of the Libertarian Party. Get you guys to kind of weigh in on it, and I wanted to get something on the books dealing with this new pedosexual trend that's trying to make its way into our culture here in America. We need to stand up against this. We need to understand where it comes from. This is nothing but something that comes from the pits of hell. It's meant to attack our children. It's meant to change the legal system in this country, of course, when you're talking about age of consent laws. And it's also meant to make it a little bit easier for the rapists that are out there, because once the laws are changed, these rapists will get away with bloody murder. We're already in a culture right now where we're outing a lot of men for their gross behavior over the last few decades. Okay, we're already in that culture right now. Can you imagine changing the age of consent laws down to 14? And with these gross some of these gross people would do with these new changes, I'll leave it at that. I will not go into examples. I think your mind is sharp enough to understand what I'm saying. So, with all of that said, we need to make sure that Arvin Vora knows that we know who he is. Okay? Let's try to click on his page real quick. Yeah, his box is black, of course. But that's Arvin Vora. Okay? Just in case you're walking around town and you see Arvin Vora, this is the man who thinks it's okay that we change our age of consent laws down to 14. And when asked if he would sleep with a 14-year-old minor that consented, he answered with probably not. It's very easy to say no. It's actually shorter. It takes a little bit more to say probably not because you don't want to say no. I'm just saying, psychologically speaking, something was going through that man's head when he typed probably not, when it's so much easier for a grown 37-year-old man to say no. Okay? So I don't know what this painting is in the background. Can we put the Franco era in the past? Catalans deserve self-determination. People like him like weird art like this. And you know who else likes weird art like this? The Podesta brothers. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to leave it at that. There's a sick culture in this country. There is a sick culture in this country. And some of these people that are smiling in your face and working in powerful positions, don't ever leave your children with them. Never. That's it, guys. I hope you like, share, subscribe. I hope that I'm trying to give you all the information that I can. I'm trying to be as honest and truthful as I can, it always comes from my heart. So I hope that you feel what I'm saying. I do a little bit of research. I'm not claiming to know everything, but I just pick up on a lot of things and I retain a lot of information easily because I'm a fucking nerd and I like to read. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, these are the kind of people that are infiltrating our government that we need to watch out for. We need to watch out for this pedosexual trend. Let it be known that I'm putting it out there. As a matter of fact, I'll probably put that in the title of this video. Pedosexuals infiltrate political parties in the United States. Something like that. But yeah, the vice chair of the Libertarian Party, Arvin Vora, is aligning himself with the infiltrator pedosexual group that wishes to overthrow our political system with their disgusting ways of pedophilia. So let that be known for the record. With that said, guys, like, share, subscribe, get this video out there. Pass it on to your friends, pass it on to your family. Let people know that this pedosexual thing is coming, and it's coming full steam ahead, okay? It's coming. You're not going to be able to stop it. It's already out there, and it's already starting to seep through. So the best we can do is keep it at bay. And to inform as many people as we can so that we don't see our legal system start to change and our children's lives affected forever and their children's lives affected. We don't need that happening in this country. We don't need that happening at all. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. And also, guys, if you really, really, really want to support me, I'm serious. If you really want to support me, I don't have a Patreon. Instead of you giving me $10 or $20 a month, I'd rather for you to go to mcafamilyfirst.com, Get yourself either the $10 package or the $20 package. I don't care which one you get. It's up to you for your needs. I'd say get the $20 package because that's what I have. And that's what I choose to protect my family with. Um, that's, you're going to get your accidental death, which is like life insurance benefits. You're going to get uh, up to 100 free miles of towing. If you break down or lock your keys in the car, you get the free, unlocking service, free gas delivery if you run out of gas, um, hotel accommodations if your car breaks down. Um, it's just so much security wrapped all up into one $20 a month membership that it makes it literally almost impossible to say no if you have an extra 20 bucks. Seriously. And then if you want to, really offset the cost of that, which I have done already, um, pretty much when you're signing up, it's $40 to sign up. That's pays for your first and last month. And um whoever you sign up under gets $80. So if you go and sign up, I'm going to get $80. But if you go sign somebody else up and pass it on, to a friend in your family, you're going to get $80. Okay? So this company does not advertise at all. They do not advertise at all. They have no paid advertising. But they've been around for close to 100 years now. Close to 100 years. So I believe it was like 1926 or something like that. But it's up there. I know they're already over 90 years. So for a company that's been around that long in America and they're only by word of mouth, that tells you something. That tells you something as far as their legitimacy. I'm not going to mislead you or tell you anything wrong. Go to mcafamilyfirst.com. The link is in the description below. Get yourself a $20 a month membership. This is probably the most American company that shares its profits with its people, unlike other companies. So they don't spend all the marketing costs, so they're not worried about all the hoopla that comes with gauging the numbers and all this other kind of stuff, and analyzing the numbers and the demographics that these marketing campaigns produce. So, you know, at the end of the day, mcafamilyfirst.com in business for a long time. Another company that I deal with, go to secretnewworld.com. They've been in business since 2010. So that's 8 years now. 8 years of being in business in good standing, making people a ton of money. If you go to secretnewworld.com, um, it's going to help you out a whole lot. You can make daily cash starting today. You don't have to wait to make that. And that's a one-time $25 investment. So that's secretnewworld.com for a one-time $25 investment / fee. And the other one is mcafamilyfirst.com. $40 up front, $20 a month thereafter. But you're covered through everything. You can make money with both of them. Okay? So check it out, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave me some comments below about this pedosexual situation. Let me know what's going on, what's in your head and hearts regarding this kind of information. Yeah, I want you to go over to mcafamilyfirst.com and secretnewworld.com, but I also want you to come back to this video and leave me some comments about this. With that, guys, I'm out. Stay alert, stay alive.